Hello, this is Idodmg and welcome back to the channel. In this Dwarven Realms video, I want to offer up my review for this indie action RPG that is currently only $10 on Steam. It's an honest steal, and I definitely think for $10 you're going to get a bang for your buck with this gem. Now, this is probably not going to be your main action RPG that you're going to play. It could be. It has definitely potential, but for me, Dwarven Realms tends to be more of a filler game between other games, cycle, league, seasons, expansion packs. We have Vessel of Hatred coming up here soon, but in this video, I want to talk to you about everything that Dwarven Realms does have to offer and why I think you should consider picking up this game. The massive draw with Dwarven Realms is the amount of enemies that you're going to see on screen and just all the hack and slashing you can do. But there's more to it than that. So this is your home fort here that you unlock immediately when you start the game. And there's many different upgrades in here you can unlock. This is a table here to boost up your XP from different materials you find in dungeons. You have crafting stations. This is a actual workbench where you can actually come in here and you can actually modify your gear. Currently all mine's max crafted, so I can't really show you that, but you can reroll mods, upgrade mods. There's a lot to crafting. I have an extensive crafting guide video. If you do pick up the game and you want to check that out, make sure you do after this video. You can also get cards for your character here, which you have to clear every 5 ruptures that you clear, which we will talk about ruptures a little bit later. I just want to show you kind of what you can do with your character customization. But these cards give you buffs, and so every 5 ruptures you can go in there and get a card, and it'll pop up with a choice of 4 different cards, and you can pick one. If there's not one in there, you can re-roll it. It's pretty cool. It's kind of a fun little way to try to really min-max and squeeze a little bit extra out of your build. You also get, very early on, you're going to get a fossil here, and this, everyone starts out with the exact same fossil, so you don't need to worry about looking for better fossils or anything like that. You just plus up your fossil by smacking in stones that you're going to be finding and crafting throughout the game. This is a stance stone. This is a mauls and stabs damage stone. So I'll literally craft this and I can smack it right into that fossil. Now, stance in this game is what weapon you're going to be using, and we'll talk about that here in a moment as well. There's also different crafting tables, so you can craft different dungeon keys, and I have guides covering the majority of all of these dungeons. There's daily quests here as well. You also have your passive skill tree. If you hit K on the keyboard, you can see this is your whole passive tree. There's loads of modifiers and things you can do. There's another skill tree you can get, and this gives you character power as well, but it also unlocks certain features. It gives you some bonuses for crafting, damage, defense, experience. This is a whole nother skill tree that you can level up, and this is actually leveled up through giving this guy resources and leveling up your elven faction level. You can also join a fellowship. Now, there's not multiplayer in this game, but you can join a fellowship, which is basically like guilds. I'm in this one right now. Imps being silly. This one I think is actually full of members right now. And these fellowships have their own dungeon that you can go do and get massive loot and rewards from. But the other cool thing with fellowships as well is, well, there's not direct multiplayer, but whenever someone in your fellowship kills a slug, slugs are these monsters that will show up in rifts. And when you kill one, you'll get a buff, not only for you, but everyone else in your fellowship. So you can see up here, I have all these stacks. Since I'm in a massive fellowship, we always have loads and loads of buffs running. So whenever you get that, it's shared with your fellowship members. Now, there's also a dungeon. There's a monster that has a rare chance to spawn. And if someone kills it, this dungeon entrance will show up. And then everyone in the fellowship gets that entrance, and it shows up in their world as well. So it's pretty awesome. Sometimes you'll be like running a rupture, and you'll see one of these things pop up. You can go in there, fight a big boss, and get even more loot. So that's quite a bit with your fort. Let's go ahead and talk about what you can do with your character customization. So as I mentioned in this game, you're going to hear the word stance items. You'll hear people say that. All that means is what weapon you're using. There's 6 different weapon types currently in the game. You have spears, mauls, and stabs. That's into one category. 2-handed weapons, 1-handed weapons, archery, and magery. Now, each of these have special perks. Like as you level up, these are all just more damage, crit damage, stuff like that. But they all have a mastery node here towards the end. And right now, mauls is like the most overpowered. Everyone's running it. You get your mastery here is you have a chance to get a divine aura that makes you invincible. You gain crit damage during the duration, and you have a chance to proc an offhand. So this is huge. I also liked the 2-handed one here. You can actually become a straight up gargoyle with this. Now you level up your weapons literally just by using them. So you're leveling up these passives we just talked about, but you're also going to be unlocking these skills as you level up as well. When it comes to your skills, you have a Q ability and an R ability. And while you're attacking, you'll actually be charging up your glyph for your R ability. And then when that thing is fully charged, if you hit it, that thing will deal double damage, which is really awesome. And there's ways you can enchant and modify your gear. You can get a way to make the thing even do quadruple damage with one of the monograms available in the game as well. All right, we got to fully charge this one to show you that it does indeed do double damage. It's pretty awesome. All right, let's go ahead and talk about, so that's your skills and your weapon skills. Now there's a whole nother part of your character that is your actual abilities. Now you're going to see my guys running around and I'm casting these giant lightning AoE things. So this is actually an offhand ability called Static Charge. When you first get an offhand, it's going to not have any modifiers. It'll be one of the rarities in the game, either white, blue, yellow, or purple. And once it is upgraded to purple, you'll have a choice of 2 different modifiers. You can pick one that you want to get. And these things are pretty cool. They add a lot, I think, to the build diversity. The way mine's set up is whenever my Static Charge, that big lightning AoE, deals damage, I get a stack. And then at 100 stacks or charges, I summoned Thunderbolts across the entire battlefield. It's absolutely awesome. Altogether, though, there are 26 different offhand abilities. And your offhands, again, are that Goblet, Horn, Trinket, and Belt. And you can stack up to 4. Now, if you're going to be picking this game up, you're going to want to know this little bit of information here. If you stack up 4 of the same offhand ability, all the damage stacks up and the modifiers stack up as well. So you can find some insane power by stacking the same offhand. As I mentioned, there's 26 different offhands. I'll just scroll through it here and you can see all the different modifiers. Each skill has 2 different modifiers, like I mentioned. So that means you have a total of 52 different offhand modifiers that you can choose from and play around with and min-max. It's just awesome. I love the abilities in this game. I know we talked earlier on a little bit about kind of character customization and stuff, but I wanted to go ahead and just touch on loot and itemization here real quick. So there's different rarities in the game. You have straight up white items. I don't think I have any in my stash, but those just, yeah, here's one. It has no affixes on it. And then it goes to blue, which has more affixes, yellow. You know, nothing new here. If you've played any action RPG ever in your life, this is not a new thing. And then red is these modifiers. Now these modifiers, you can choose which ones you want to put on your gear as long as you have 4 affixes crafted onto the item. I can show you real quick here on this white item. We'll just blast this up real quick and show you what it looks like. So you can just come into here, you can pick whatever you want. There's different stats in the game, obviously. If maybe you're running Burning Shield is your offhand ability. I'm not, but for the sake of the video, what I'm trying to show you here, boss damage is really good later on. Some of the bosses have insane amounts of health pools, and energy regeneration is another one I like as well. And again, this isn't like the best way to craft or anything. I'm just showing you here what you can do in the video. So once you have 4 modifiers on that, you can come over to your monogram throne. And this is your codex of all the enchants that you have unlocked. Look how many there are. You can play around with all these, test them all out. There's loads and loads and loads. So you just pop your item in there and pick the one out of the list that you want to craft and add it. There you go. We just took a white item and turned it into a red item. Granted, it's not the best item in the game because I didn't follow all the principles that I teach in the crafting guide video. But back to the review here. That's kind of loot and itemization. A couple more things here when it comes to your characters. You obviously have attributes. Again, nothing new to the action RPG genre. And a lot of people will just go straight into one of these and they'll build around that. Because those monograms I was showing you, there's different ways to scale based off of whatever your main attribute is. Early game, I always go heavily into strength. And then once I'm later into the end game, I switch it over to stamina. But I've seen people run luck builds, wisdom builds, and all these attributes do different things. You know, strength's your damage, agility's your crit chance on lifesteal, stamina's max health, wisdom's bonus XP, and so it's really straightforward. It's nothing new if you've ever played an action RPG. So let's go ahead and jump into a rupture here. I'm going to turn it down to a little bit easier one just so we can show you here in the video. And another really important thing you got to know about this game is there's no level cap. You can literally level up as high as you possibly want to. You can grind to your heart's content in this game, which is awesome. It's endless. It's endless. Now there is, when you are doing these ruptures, so you come in here, it's just a group, massive amounts of enemies. I'm killing them so fast, but if you're not killing them instantly, they pile up. I mean, you can get hundreds and hundreds of monsters in here. But while I'm in here, you're going to notice up in the top left, there's Time Essence. Once I have 100 Time Essence, I'll be able to go ahead and fight the boss. Maybe I should have done a higher Rupture here to show off, but just making it easy on myself, I guess. And it's not like the Ruptures really get that much more challenging. Like, as long as you have the right stats and damage, you're just going to blast through it anyway. Like, this definitely isn't going to be like your complex Path of Exile, or it's not going to be like your, you know, your other action RPGs where you got to really pull up a build planner and stuff. Now, you can do that all if you want to, and it is fun to do that in my opinion, but it's definitely not required to just enjoy the game. So we're getting our Time Essence here. You're also going to notice there's containers spawning around the room we can loot. I don't know if we've seen a lot in this Rupture, and if we get lucky, there'll be a giant purple thing coming out of the sky. Well, not this, but this is a container, but it's not what I was trying to talk about. You can find it's called like a time tear, and you can go into that, and it'll pop an event that'll spawn a bunch of enemies. And then you can also see there's elites in here that have different move sets as well. But once you've killed all these enemies, you can see I'm looting these. Opening the containers does consume Time Essence, so you kind of got to decide, like, this is a Rupture that I wouldn't want to farm because it's low level. And all the items in there are obviously not going to be upgrades. But I would probably want to farm this since it's, you know, super fast if I was trying to farm some certain materials out of this. But anyway, we have enough essence. Let's go ahead and jump into the Rupture. There's also nodes around the map that you can break open as well. Once you get later into the game, those, you know, have chances to spawn different things. So we opened up the Rupture thing there. So now this is the big boss. It's going to die instantly because I'm like way over leveled for this. Some of these bosses can be a little bit, you know, some of them have, I don't want to say complex, but they have mechanics to them that you have to dodge. It's basically just don't get hit by fire. That's literally what this game is. It's like, again, it's not going to be like your mythic rating on a WoW or, you know, anything like that. It's just, this is just definitely a fun little game to blast. And then at the end, you get your loot, and then you can turn in your essences for books. Then you can turn these books in your fort to get bonus XP. And the only other thing I really want to point out here with the Ruptures is this middle island here. These are your story Ruptures, starting at Rupture 1 all the way up to Rupture 36. Now, all throughout these, you're going to be unlocking different parts of the game. You're going to be unlocking offhands. So if you know which offhand ability you want, you can go into these and 100% guarantee you get it. There's no RNG behind that at all, which I love. And also, while you're progressing through this, it'll introduce you to some unique bosses that you'll encounter that will show up even later on, and they'll show up in stronger versions in higher Rupture levels. Now, once you've completed Rupture 36, you'll unlock these 6 islands around the edge of the map, and these are your end game islands is what they call them. But these things, literally, you can do the highest Rupture that you can possibly do. There's no end point. There's a leaderboard. You can see people on here, like this dude's doing a Rupture 240 is what they've cleared. Like, you can just grind and grind and grind to your heart's content. The other thing you're going to notice here on the map is there are these different dungeons. I have a video I recently put out about all the dungeons in the game and what kind of the progression order is, but these all serve different purposes, whether it be upgrading your pet that you can get in the game, whether it be special gear that you can get, or, you know, like Gravedigger's Cove, you would farm for stones to smack into your fossil. And then, of course, those end game dungeons as well, like the Cathedral of Fire. It's just a nice way. I like the dungeons because it's a nice way to kind of not just be like, well, I'm just infinitely getting better, but you kind of have goals that you're working towards and clearing those dungeons. Again, I have loads and loads of guides on this game for all the different dungeons, progression, crafting. Just make sure you check out the Dwarven Realms playlist if you want to pick up the game and see what I have to say with all of my different guides. I hope you enjoyed this review video for Dwarven Realms. This has been a game I've been following for almost a year now, and I absolutely love it. It's just such a chill game to grind on and blast and just zone out. And really just, it's relaxing to me to just grind. There's something about the game that's addicting. And again, it's not going to be a game where you're finding super complex builds or anything like that, but it's definitely a nice filler game in my opinion. And for $10, you can already see you're definitely going to get your money's worth. And that's going to wrap it up for this Dwarven Realms review video. Hopefully you found this video useful and or entertaining. If so, don't forget that like button and subscribe to the channel if you think I've earned it. Please consider becoming a YouTube channel member today and unlock some pretty awesome perks, such as members first videos, some fun blooper videos that I'll post while I'm editing videos, and also some behind the scenes. And also, the support means a lot to the family and I. But don't forget, your view alone means the absolute world. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.